Hello everybody, my name is Laura Lynn and I want to welcome you to Fire Mountain Gems and Beads Live. We are here today to teach you how to make this beautiful Arizona shaped with some turquoise added to it. We're making it out of copper wire. States in the shape of jewelry in the shape of states is really popular right now. People are using them for sun catchers. It's things you can find all over Pinterest at the moment. So while we wait for people to join us, this is the one you guys are expecting to see Patty today. I'm stepping in for her. She wasn't able to make it, but we will go ahead and show you how to do this. While we wait for people to join us, please go ahead and like and share this video. Also, if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the comments. And also, if you would like to know about future videos that are coming up, go ahead and subscribe to our channel too. If you would like a list of the materials, please go ahead and hashtag NF2R in the comments, and at the end of the video, we'll go ahead and send those instructions, a link to the instructions for you. I personally made this Oregon State one, which is also the same thing. This is made with Goldfield wire, and it's also with our gemstone, which is the Sunstone. So you can really be really creative. I mean, you don't have to be totally detailed in the shape. Like Colorado and Wyoming are the simplest states we have, but they also have like aquamarine. Colorado has the aquamarine, so you could pair that. And Wyoming is known for its jade. The more popular states that we kind of know, everybody is like California, Texas, Florida, Alaska. Texas has blue opal, which I think is a beautiful stone. And Florida is the moonstone. And Alaska is actually jade and gold. So those two together actually look really nice. We also have a lot of international customers, so it doesn't just have to be a state. Canada, maybe make a maple leaf. Puerto Rico could do the shape of Puerto Rico. I also wanted to mention, because I do pronounce words wrong, I haven't done a video in a long time, but those of you who know me, English is my second language, so if I do pronounce something that's not quite right, that's the reason why, and I apologize in advance. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the things that we're going to need today. So you're actually going to learn quite a few techniques today. I'm going to teach you how to straighten wire. You can either use a tool that I'm going to show you, pliers, or even your hands when it comes to copper. We're also going to show you how to manipulate the wire into a shape. Hammering and texturing wire. We're going to teach you how to do a simple loop, briolette loops, and also how to open and close jump rings. So let's get started. For this project, I have an assortment of leaves, turquoise leaves. I have some turquoise nuggets, some copper ball pens, a copper chain, and some copper jump rings. In addition to that product, I do have two sizes of wire. I have a 20 gauge and a 24 gauge copper wire. The state shape is made with the 20 gauge, and the briolette wraps are made with the 24 gauge. We do have a texturing hammer. I like this particular one because when I hammer it on the wire, it just gives it a really nice hammered look. But there are various different types of texturing hammers that you can use. You also will need a printout of whatever state you're going to make, which I'm going to show you how to do that, and a Sharpie. And also you will need some alcohol and some cotton swabs to clean the Sharpie marks that you make on the wire afterwards. If you have any questions at all, please go ahead and put them in the comments. We will answer it as the video goes. I do watch the video at the end after I'm done, and if there's any questions that did not get answered, I will do my best to answer them for you. So with Arizona, the state is fairly simple, but when you get over on this side, it's kind of like a lot of ridges. When you're going to make a shape out of wire, you don't have to worry about those ridges. I've actually got a little piece. You can just like straighten them out. So like I went like here, then go like this. And you can minimize how many bends you have to make on the wire. See? And it makes it a little bit more simple. So to begin, you want to use your 20 gauge wire. And when it comes off of the spool, you can see that it kind of comes off all crooked and stuff. And so there are various ways to straighten it. Copper is very soft, so you can use your hand to straighten it, you know, and use your pliers. That is if you have none of the additional tools. We actually have this little nifty wire straightener, which I love. All you have to do is wrap it around the wire and then pull. And then you might have to do it a second time. Just pull it some more. It is worth it. So if you do not have this, I highly recommend that you purchase it. The other thing that you can use that is, before we came up with this, are these nylon pliers. And it's the same concept. You just kind of put it in there and pull. And as you pull, it straightens out the wire for you. Okay? So when you're going to start to do the shade of a state, my apology, you're going to want to kind of get a guesstimate of how much it's going to take and, you know, go around like that. Always cut more than what you believe you're going to need. Patty has already done this, and I know she did 12 inches, and I've actually done it a few times. It actually takes less than 12 inches, but I rather cut more than not have enough, because once you start to do it, you want to have enough to make your bill too. Okay, so let me go ahead. The other thing is when you're looking at your state is you want to find out where your bill is going to be. So just go ahead and right now mark, I want the bill to be right about the middle there. So I'm going to make a mark there so that I know that's where I'm going to bend it for the bill. So let's get started. Here I go about the middle of the wire. And the way I do it, it's not necessary, it's just a technique that this is how I do it. I don't know if necessarily that's how Patty was doing it. Some people will go ahead and mark the wire all the way and then start bending. I am not that good, so I like to mark, bend, put it back on my picture, mark, bend it again. I'll show you how. I won't be doing the whole thing here, but I'll show you enough so that you know what to do. Okay. So I went ahead, and I'm not sure if my camera guy can see that, but there's two little small marks on my wire, and that is where I'm going to go ahead and start my bends. Oh, I also forgot to tell you. If you're starting out with wire, manipulating wire, it's a really good idea if you go ahead and get some Tool Magic. It's what's this little white, it's on my tip. It puts like a, I'm not sure if it's silicone or something, but it's kind of little plasticky so that when you're working with your wire, it doesn't mar it. I will be using tools without some of the Tool Magic. I've done it enough times, but if you're starting out, I highly recommend you do it to the tips. Okay, so right where that mark is, I'm just going to bend it at a 90 degrees because it's that straight right there. And every time you bend, go back to make sure that you have it where you want it. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to mark it again so I can do the bend at the top. Okay, we're going to bend here. I do want to say hi while I'm doing this. Cheryl from New York and Christine from California. Thank you for joining us. If you didn't get here right at the beginning, I had mentioned that please go ahead, like, share, and comment so that other people can go ahead and see what's going on. And if you want to know about future videos, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, please. If you would like the instructions to this, it is hashtag N as in Nancy F2R. You can go ahead and put that in the comment. When the video is over, we can send you the link to the instructions at our website. Okay, so when you're doing this, you normally want to do one side of your state to get it nice and the way you need it. If you notice here, your wire will start to go off kilt. That's okay. You just want to go ahead and press it down, kind of pinch it, and it'll get it back to where you need it to go. And that's the neat thing about wire, is you can just manipulate it. If it's not quite going where you want it to, you can just make it, turn it again. And with copper, it's so soft, I can just really do it with my hands. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to go ahead and do, this is where my bill is going to be later. So I want to go ahead and bend it out of the way. There we go. Okay. So now that I've got that side done, I'm going to go start on this side over here. This one has just a very slight bend to it. It's not much at all. See, I bent it a little too much. That's okay. I'm just going to press down where the bend is supposed to be. Kind of make it go where I need it to. There we go. Okay. Now, this is the area where I was letting you know it gets really, all you got to do here is, as I mentioned, I kind of made it less detailed when I did my little Sharpie. That's because you don't really have to do every little kink in the state for you to know that this is the state of Arizona. Okay. So see, now I got that there, and I want it to come back in, so I'm going to mark it again. There we go. And I'll show you 2 more bends just to get it back out there, and then I'm going to go ahead and go. Here we go. So in this particular case, there's a very tiny space there, so I want to change my pliers. Even though these both are chain nose pliers, this one's a little bit skinnier, so it'll let me get into that little tight spot there where I need to be. And then I'm just going to go ahead and bend it all the way around, because I know it's that tiny. There we go. And then to get it more of the flat look there, I'm just going to take the very tip of it right there and then press it. And then you get that square edge that you're needing. There you go. So you would continue to just mark, bend all the way until you get back up here so that we can go ahead and do the bill. I already have a piece here that's at that stage. So let me go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, so now we have a very simple loop for the state. It's like an infinity or an S. But the first thing we're going to do is we want to get it so that this stays in one place. And for me, I'm not sure how Patty did it, but the way I was able to figure out, first thing I'm going to do is move my wire out of the way. Oh wait, I have to mark it first. Forgot to mark it. My apologies. You got to know where you want to bend it before you move it out of the way. Okay. So that's where it's going to be bent. And now I want to move that out of the way. And I want to take the skinniest round nose pliers that I can find. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally just wrap it as tight as I can at the very tip of this so that I can then insert this long one in there. And this is where I need to change eyes. So I'm going to push the copper away from me. And then I'm going to turn it a little bit more. And then I'm going to continue to pull that copper all the way around the round nose pliers as tightly as I can. Sometimes you can grab another piece of another plier and then pull on it so that it'll tighten it. And I'm going to go all the way around past it because it's going to loop to the back of it again. So there you see it. I've made a really tiny, tiny loop there. Now I'm going to take this piece and just put it through. And it's getting the state all bent out of shape, but that's okay because I can go ahead and make it go back when I'm done here. I'll show you how to get it all back together. Okay, so I do want to, I'm going to hold it with my pliers to try to, see, wire has memory so it gets springy, and what I'm trying to do is get it as tight as I can and then I will, so that it will stay in place. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to pull on it. This is the hardest part, in my opinion, of the whole project. It's just trying to get that on there as tightly as you can. Okay. Now, when you're hammering wire, you never want to hammer a wire when it crosses itself, because the wire will break. But there are times like in this one where I just need it to stay where I want it to. And I forgot to mention you, another thing you will need for this project is what we call these steel blocks. We sell both of them here at work. One that's just a steel block, one that has a rubber end. I like this one because it will dampen the sound of the hammering. Now, I'm not going to hammer the whole thing here because you really don't want to be listening to me do all that hammering. But what I do want to show you is this. So I'm going to do something that I told you not to do. And it's not that I'm going to hammer it so much. I'm just going to tap it just enough to make it stop springing up on me. Okay? Where's my hammer? And while I'm mucking with this, let me see what people are saying on the board here. So I do want to say hi to Susie from Arizona, Molly from Texas, Cindy from Florida, and Linda from Arizona. Thank you for joining us today. If you weren't here at the beginning, hashtag NF2R in the comments will get you the instructions to this, the link to the materials list for this project. And we'll send it to you after the video's done. So I'm just kind of holding it in place, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to tap it like that. I'm not going to be hammering it because I don't want to break my wire, but I do want to make it stop from moving on me. Okay. There we go. See? Now it's not moving. Okay. So that's all I needed for that loop there, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the excess off. And when you go to use your flush cutter, make sure this part is up against, the flush part of the pliers is up against the wire you don't want to cut, so that when you do cut it, then it's flush. I'm just bending this out of the way so I can get it, and then I'll bend it back. Also, when you go to cut wire, make sure you're holding that piece you're about to cut, or put your hand over it so it doesn't go flying and take your neighbor's eye out. Okay, here we go. And then I'm going to just use my pliers to press that down, get it to look nice and neat. So let me know if you guys have done any of these shaped with wires or not. I would love to hear what people are doing out there. Also, we do these videos for you guys, so if you have any ideas of what you would like to see in the future, please let us know. Okay, so now that I got that in place, kind of just need to get it back square. So you just, there we go. So now for the bell, I'm going to be doing what I said it was like an infinity loop. So it's going to go up here and then back down around. The top part's going to be to attach my necklace. The bottom part's going to be to attach the dangles. I do like these specific pliers because they already have marked what the size of each one is. You don't necessarily have to do that. If you just have regular round nose pliers, you can take a little Sharpie and mark it. The main reason is so that when you're doing your loops, especially with the nuggets later on, you want all the loops to be the same size. So you can just put a little mark on your round nose pliers so that it comes out the same each time. Okay. So for the first one, we're going to just push it. I love copper. You can just use your fingers to manipulate it and bend it. And when I go around the pliers, I want to go past of where it currently is at. See, like that. So then I'm going to bring it back around this way and back up. Except I wanted this to go in the front, not the back of it. So that's okay. I can fix that easy. Oop, there we go. Do that again. There we go. Now I'm going to make it come back around the other way. This loop over here is going to be a little bit smaller than the other one. Sorry, just trying to get it correct. There we go. Trying to get the pliers into where you need it sometimes can be a little tricky. That's all I'm doing right now. And then just grabbing another plier to help me tug on it tightly. Okay. Oops. My thing came undone. There we go. Okay. So if you can see this, it's not quite going the way I want, so I'm going to make it turn more. There we go. Sometimes wires doesn't want to go where you want it to. You just keep playing with it till you get it to go where you want it. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this in. Same thing with the flush. Putting the flush into my pliers right up against the one wire I don't want to cut. And then when you go through, make sure that you also are not catching the state in the back. Okay, so I'll put it there as closely as I can. There we go. So that gives you the loop for the dangles and also the loop for your necklace. Now we're going to hammer this. I'm only going to do a little bit so you can see what we're doing for hammering. As I said, you really don't want to listen to me hammer. So I do want to give a little texture to my loops, but I do not want to hit it on where everything's crossing, because that's where if you start hammering there, you will break the wire. There we go. And then this I actually want it, it's not quite where I want it. And then I'm going to hold it here and hammer. So both of those. Now you just want to go around the state and then kind of just go as you go. Now when you're hammering wire, it's going to like expand because basically you're squishing it. And if you were just keep hammering, not do anything, it eventually ends up like curving on you. That's okay. You just, you know, turn it upside down and use your fingers, and then you can flatten it back out. Okay? So here I have a piece that I've already done that to. And see, I wanted to show you what I was telling you about the states, that you don't have to worry about that side of it, because by itself, you can look at it and know that's Arizona. But if you go and look at each one together, this side over here is kind of different each time. And that's okay. That's part of your creativity. So now that we got the state shaped already and hammered out, I want to show you the techniques you need to go ahead and attach your nuggets and your leaves. So for the nuggets, all we're doing is a simple loop. So we need, I'll move this out of the way. So we need a nugget, and we need one of the ball pins. Okay, so you're going to put your nugget on the ball pin. If I can find the hole. There we go. My goodness, they are not cooperating with me today. There we go. Of course, I've tried 3 of these and it's not working. That's what happens when it comes to nuggets and chips. Sometimes you just have to go through a few of them until you find the ones that's going to fit on what you're doing. And in that case, it looked like my head pin had something wrong with it, so it wasn't the nugget. Okay, so now that I have my nugget, I'm going to hold it with the pin up as far as I can. As I mentioned, copper is really soft, so all I want to do is push that wire away from me as far as you can. Then you're going to take your round nose pliers, and there's various ways of making the simple loop. This is a method that Patty taught me, and I really like it because you get really consistent loops every time. So put my pliers in there, and I'm just going to turn them, and I'm pressing down as I turn so that it can go ahead and keep that angle on the nugget. Okay, and then you just keep turning until you get to the point where you feel you can't turn anymore. Then I take my flat nose, or in this case it happens to be my chain nose, and then I'm going to bend them. And the reason I'm bending it is I want to get my nippers in there as closely as possible to cut off the extra loops. Always putting the flush side against the wire you don't want to cut, and making sure that you don't cut it when you do it. Okay? And then covering your hand so that it doesn't go flying away. Once you've cut that, all you have to do is straighten out the loop, and it gave you a simple yet perfect round loop. So you're going to have to do 5 of these because it has 5 nuggets on the necklace. And then we have 2 leaves on the necklace that are briolette shaped. For that one, we actually use the 24 gauge wire. And it just took about 3 to 4 inches. Does not take much at all. Just straightening it out before I do it. And there's various ways to make a briolette loop. As a matter of fact, we have 3 jewelry designers here, and all 3 of us do it differently. I attempted to do it the way Patty does, which she does it the way, if you watch our video online, that's how Patty does them. It doesn't work for me, doesn't work for Rose. That's okay. Just figure out a way that works for you. It doesn't have to be the same. It's just as long as you get the results that you want. So my method is I go ahead and put the wire all the way in the middle, and then I will pull on the wire so it's nice and tight up against the leaf, going straight up. Okay, so I'm like literally pushing down on the hole and pulling on the wire. Once I have it where I want it, I will take my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to, I'm not sure if my camera guy can see this, but I'm going to squish these 2 wires together so that it comes up right at the middle there. So I'm just kind of squishing and holding it tight. There we go. And then I actually want these to be side by side, so while I'm squishing them, I'm going to straighten that out. See, now it's nice and tight there. Now I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and this is very much like a wrap loop from here. So you're going to bend your wire away from you, turn your wire pliers 45-degree angle, take that wire and bend it back towards you, pressing hard against the tip of the pliers so it's nice and snug. Press it down till you can't anymore. Turn your pliers back to the original position, and then make that wire continue to go around the tip of that plier and pull on it so it's nice and snug. And what you have done is you've created a really nice little loop there. Now, from here, I will take my flat nose or round chain nose pliers, and I'm just going to hold the loops not real tight, because remember I have 2 wires in there versus 1. And I'm going to take another plier, and I'm just going to pull and wrap it around. I do want these to stay together, because as I wrap them, I'm just going to wrap them all together. There we go. Once you get it, then you let go and then grab it again, just loop it around. As you're looping, it's going to be getting closer and closer to the leaf, And you just want to go until you're at the very top there. There you go. Now, if I was actually doing a briolette stone where it comes to a little point, I will continue to wrap this until I cover where the wire is. But in this particular case, I do not need that because it's part of the design. I do want to go ahead and bend my wire, what I just wrapped, away so that I can get the nippers in there and cut it really close. Always making sure that you're not getting your loops or anything cut in there, because it'd be really sad that you did all that work and then you cut it. I'm saying that as a voice of experience. Okay, there we go. Now, I just want to hold this. Actually, I'm going to use my thicker ones. And then right where I cut it, it's still, you can kind of feel it. So I want to kind of loop it around. Actually, I'm going to put it on here to make it nice and round. I'll get my tools out of the way. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that there and then take my chain nose, and what I'm doing is I'm just going to hold and turn. So as I'm turning, what it's doing, it is making those wires get snug up against the rest of the coils. And so you don't have anything sharp that's going to poke at you when you're wearing it. Okay, so that is the briolette loop for the leaf. You need to do 2 of these for this particular design. So to attach it, I have, we need to get the chain. So Patty actually used a 36-inch chain for this project, but we don't need the whole chain. So what we've done is we've gone up to where the clasp is, and it's an 18-inch length chain, so we're just going to cut this chain down to 9 inches each. And you don't see this, but right past this is a little ruler, and that's where I'm going to go to measure it so I can cut. And while I'm doing this, I'm not seeing any comments. Anybody want to say hi? Let me know what you're up to. Have you done something like this before? Okay, so I got one side done. Let me get the other side. Okay, so this is ready to be attached to the necklace. But before I do that, we took a couple of these pieces of chain and we attached, had about 4 or 5 links, and then we went ahead and attached the leaf to it. One moment, I'll show you how to do that. So that's the little chain there. Now we're going to go ahead and show you how to open and close a jump ring. If you've never opened or closed a jump ring, it is really important that you get in the habit of doing 1 plier towards you, 1 plier away from you. And I'll show you here in a second. You're always going to go this way, this kind of motion. You never want to do this motion because that will take the circle away from your jump rings. You won't be able to get it back. Okay, and so I'm attaching it to the end of the chain here. Oops, I didn't get the last link there. And then I would take the leaf I just made and attach it. So there you go. Okay, so for the nuggets, we don't really need a chain. All we're doing with the nugget is we're just going to open that little loop that you made. Like that. Then we would attach it to the bottom of the loop here, of the state. Oops. And then you're going to close it the same way you opened it. And the same with that leaf that we added to the chain. I'm going to add a jump ring to it so I can attach it. There we go. Okay, there it is. I need to close it. It's being stubborn. Sometimes because of the weight or whatever, you just kind of get creative how you hold it so that you don't keep dropping it like I have been. Now there is something I forgot to tell you. I did mention about marking up your state. So what you want to do before you start hammering it, you can do it after you hammer if you forget, because I always do, is all you want to do is take your cotton swab, a little bit of alcohol, and then just get it wet. And then you can go on your state here, and you see those little lines that I had, and just kind of rub it to get rid of those lines that you made with the Sharpie. So this one I actually is one of the ones I haven't hammered yet. And so that's how you clean it. I did forget to mention that little step earlier. Okay, so all we're doing right now, I do have a piece here that it has all the nuggets on it except for the last thing we did. We had 2 nuggets that went straight onto the loop. We had the leaf that went straight on, and then the chain one that I made. But we also took another little chain and then attached 3 little nuggets to that. And now that's the last piece to attach to the top of this portion here to get it done. And so this, we just got to find the top part of it, which is right there. And then I'm going to attach it onto the loop. There we go. I'm kind of holding it so it doesn't get away from me. And then get in there with your pliers to close it. There you go. So now that we have all the dangles on, the last thing to do is attach our necklace, and that was just with 2 simple jump rings on that big loop we made earlier. Now the loop on this is big enough. You do not have to do it this way if you wanted to, and you wanted to just put it straight into a cord. All you would need to do is change the orientation of that loop there at the top, which I'm going to show you on this one. All you would need to do is, instead of making your loop that way, is you would make it at this angle. And then you would be able to just put a cord right into it and not have to add jump rings. So that's another option you can do. So that's one. Let me attach the other side of the chain. Here we go. And then we're going to close it. Now when you're closing your jump rings, in addition, to doing that motion I taught you, see, this one is a little far away, so sometimes you got to kind of go back and forth, and you will feel when the wire touches itself, and you kind of heard it there. The other thing you want to do is you want to look at it from straight up, make sure that it's in line, and you also want to look at it from the side to make sure that the wires haven't gone off kilt. Okay? So so this is the completed project. And in addition to Arizona is known for their turquoise, but also Nevada, New Mexico, and are also known for that. So I do have a question coming up, and it says, Jan wants to know, how long does it take you to think of new designs? Well, it varies. Sometimes, at least here for work, you know, I'm given a page and with some materials on it, and sometimes I'm asked to do a necklace. I'm asked to do earrings. Sometimes it's up to me what it is. Sometimes it's more specific. They want specific product. It varies. It varies. Sometimes it comes right to me. There are other times where I just look at it and it's like, nothing's coming to me. If I run into that, then I start talking to the other jeweler designers, and between us, we kind of brainstorming together. We can come up with ideas. I personally will look at the product, and the product inspires me. Other people will have already an idea in their mind and go from there. So it kind of varies. What is the best gauge for jump rings? I at least 20 gauge, because you want it to be sturdy enough that it doesn't undo itself. And it also depends where you're using it. Like 24 gauge, sometimes I have to go to 24 gauge because whatever I'm doing is so delicate. I just never want to use something that thin on something like a bracelet or something where you could lose it. You know, but if it's on a dangle like here, 24 gauge is fine because no force is going to go against it. But if it's something like for bracelets or at the end of a necklace, terminating a necklace, the minimum I would use is a 20 gauge. Okay, so that is all I have for you guys today. I do want to thank you for joining us once again, in case you weren't here at the beginning. We would love it if you guys could like, share, and comment, and also subscribe to our channel so we can let you know about any future videos that are coming up. And if you would like the list of materials to make this project at home, you can type hashtag NF2R, and we will go ahead and send that to you when the video's over. We will send you the link to our Fire Mountain Gems and Bead where you can find the instructions. My name is Laura Lynn. I do want to thank you, everybody who joined us today. Please make sure that you stay safe, and if you need anything, go ahead and make comments so that we can go ahead and take care of you. You have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.